Hi, this is Tim with Shop Tour Reviews. Stick around in a few moments. I'm going to show you my third hand. This is the solder tool from TG Products, and this is a really simple tool. I love efficient tools that are very simple, especially to do common tasks. And this is one of those. It acts as a third hand. So you've probably seen things like this before for soldering, but this takes it a couple of steps further. So first you've got these mounted to alligator clips here, and they are screwed onto the back. They're not just riveted, but it also holds your solder so that it will not only hold the wire, but it will also hold your solder so you can hold your soldering iron. And then the really neat thing about it is this acts as a shield. So if you're patching up a wiring harness, say, and you need to protect those wires, those other wires, while you're working on the one wire that does have a break in it, this is a great tool for that. In fact, that's kind of what it's made for. And you see with it holding your solder, you're able to just lay the solder there and then put the heat on top of it and draw that solder to the heat like you're supposed to do anyway. You never want to apply that solder to the actual heat source. You want that solder to wick to the heat source. So we've got a small wiring harness here, if you will, with a broken wire, and I've already got it stripped back. So we're going to go ahead and make us a lineman splice here. And so I'm going to try to get a good lineman's twist on it. Now we're going to take our tool, our solder tool, and we're going to slide it over here and put the wire in there. And you see I've also already put my heat shrink on there, so don't forget to do that. And then I'm just going to pull this solder out a little bit, place it under that wire. And we just need a little bit. This is a small wire. And I like to use flux. Keeps everything clean, makes sure the solder is going to flow well, so I like to put a little flux on there. And then I've got my solder gun. You may have a small soldering iron. I like to use my tried and true Weller there, so I'm going to go ahead and get a little flux on that. And then I'm just going to apply some heat to it. There, now it's drawn in that solder into those wires, so those strands are now soldered together. And so we've got a nice clean joint on that. We can now, you see it didn't get hard enough to melt my shrink wrap. All these wires under here, they're cool to the touch. They're not even warm. So it protected it even though I was holding that heat source right there on those wires. So really neat product. Now I did do one little alteration of this. So I may recommend this, but you may not care or you may not worry about it. But I don't like those alligator teeth actually biting into those wires, so I put a little shrink wrap around the jaws. That took 30 seconds and probably 2 cents worth of shrink wrap there. So I did that, so I added that myself. So I thought it'd make it a little easier on those clips that are biting into those wires. So really easy tool to use. $25. If you think that's a lot, maybe it is if you've done this once, but if you've done this a couple of times, I know that for years Fords were synonymous of the power window power wire breaking inside the door jamb, and having to fish those out, get in there, splice those wires together, and then have to solder that was a real pain. So having something like this would have been a dream. This tool is also available for the full-size spool, so you just pull this little clip off, you slide this one on, and so now you can use a full-size spool. So if you do a lot of soldering, then you can get that full-size spool and use that. But I think this is a 5/8 tube, if I'm not mistaken, and that clips right into that one. So check it out. It's TG Products. You can find it online. It's $25. If you're doing a repair job on a wiring harness like this, you're probably going to get at least $75, $100, $125 minimum. So you're easily paying for that tool. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a great day.